like best?
I like the white one the most.
The white one?
I like the yellow one. Actually, the red one.
They're all good, huh?
I like the red one or the yellow.
Alright.
Okay, so for today's update, we'll go over what I've done most recently, just some minor tweaks to it. The biggest thing is the door gap. I fixed that, I got it a lot tighter. Okay, so we're getting this gap closed up a lot tighter now, and there's still a little bit of wiggle room we'll have from it, and I'll show you what I did for that. Is the part that comes out on the body, and then you have the part that the fender has that sticks out. And the fender side was behind this, and I moved it to the other side just to kind of push the fender that way. And I'm also going to put the bolts in coming this way from the wheel, because it's a lot easier to take off the wheel lining and take these out than it is to open the door and try to put a wrench in there. So that should make adjusting it even easier as well. So that gap tightened up quite a bit there. Quite happy with it now. Just takes a little fine tuning, but that made it a lot nicer to have a more factory size gap in it than the bigger gap that was on there. I removed the V6 pony badge off the fender. Okay, so to remove the fender badge here, there is some adhesive on the back side. You can take some fishing line and go through it. You can use some lighter fluid down in there. I just want to show you on the back side of the fender, since we have the lining off, you can see how this goes in and how easy it is really to take off if you just push it back out the other way. And so that might be worth it to take off the fender lining, and then you'll have your residue here like this that you'll need to eat away at. It is just a gluey sticky tape type thing, but that's how you can remove the emblem without really messing up the fender. Then this turtle wax bug and tar remover works real well on the microfiber rag. You can really get that cleaned up, but there will be the factory hole here and then the guide pin as well hole. So you have two holes that you'll need to either cover up or have filled in, or just put your new badge over that, but that's what it looks like. I'll get some GT badges for it soon. And then for the rear, I removed the wing. Okay, so today we're going to remove the wing and see if this JB Weld hack job made it onto the trunk, or if it's secluded to just the wing itself. Looks like the wing may have cracked at some point and they tried to fix it. So we'll see if we're looking at a new trunk that we need, or just the wing, or what we can do. Okay, so it looks like we're somewhat in luck here. Looks like some kind of double-sided sticky tape that they put down, and it's just kind of crumbling. I don't think it's gonna take the paint with it. And I think just a new wing might solve this problem. So it's looking pretty good under there. As for the wing itself, yeah, I don't know what the heck they were trying to do. It's probably cracked. Looks like it was cracked over here at the bottom. But anyway, maybe I can find an Oxford white wing somewhere and be done. Okay, that's coming off pretty good. Just get a credit card under here, and it's folding right up. Yeah, I'll work this off there. We'll get some of this bug and tar remover. Good stuff. I'll use that on it. See, with the wing off, it's normal to have a little bit of marks on here from the wing. Got most of that off, so I'm actually pretty happy. I don't need a new deck lid. I just need to find a new wing. This side looks a little worse, but it's all where the wing's gonna go. And the wing itself, yeah, it cracked. So it's missing the whole bottom side here now, and was lucky to find that they did not epoxy the broken wing to the deck lid, but they had just fixed the wing from its crack and then put it back on the car. So after a little bit of cleaning, it came out pretty good. It's good to know I won't need a whole new deck lid yet. The The thing is, I'm looking at a parts car right now where I'm going to get the new wing from, and if the other panels are good on that car, I might just bring the whole car home. And that one is Oxford white, so if some of the panels are even better, I might just switch out the panels that I already replaced. So we'll just see how life takes us and what happens. I've had a few questions. Number one, am I going to paint the car entirely? And the answer is long-term yes. My wife was looking at the car the other day and said, you know, when you have it straightened out to the point where you're comfortable with it and you think it's done, then let's go ahead and get it painted. So with that comes the question about the dent over the fuel door. I've got that question a few times if I'm going to fix it. As you may know, it's how I used to ID the car. So in a way, it's kind of special to me to see it every once in a while. But I came to the conclusion that, you know, part of owning a car and what makes it yours is things that you've done to it, but the other part is things that you will do to it. And so I'll continue to make this my car, and I'll probably fix that dent when that time comes and it receives its full new paint job. Right now I have a 3-car garage and all 3 bays are used, and this car sits outside, so on the same hand I'm not really too interested in paying you know, a lot of money to make it perfect, just to have it get weathered again until maybe I build a shop or figure something else out. So anyway, that's kind of where it sits now. I removed the V6 Fender badge. I'm gonna get some GT badges for it again, and the only reason it had that V6 running pony is because that's the Fender, you know, that was replaced, that was from a V6. The front bumper was also from the same car that I got the side fender and door from, and it had the V6 slats in where the fog lights go, and I had to cut those out. So otherwise, you know, from here the car looks pretty clean. It's really not too bad or too embarrassing, though. I, you know, have my perfectionist side to me, so eventually we'll just keep moving forward with it rationally. I want to get it cleaned up as fast as I can, and my goal right now is basically just to get it back to where it was when I had it, and then from there we'll move on. Another question that I always get is, you know, what plans for the car? And so right now I'm pretty much at the point where if it were to lose the engine or anything like that, then I'd probably go coyote swapping it, and I'd love to make a video series on that, so that's an option. Another option is the Torque Tech supercharger kit, which uses the 0304 Cobra supercharger, and my brother has that on his supercharged Bullet. So you know, just a few options. It would depend on how I could get those parts, how affordable it would be. And so anyway, just taking a step at a time. Next thing for this car is the carpet should show up this Friday along with the new mats, and so I'll be pulling the seats out again and tearing out all the carpet and putting in new carpet. And the new floor mats with that, of course. And the steering wheel cover. So I bought a leather kit that's supposed to cover the factory steering wheel, and you know, you wrap it real tight and it should come out pretty good. So I'm excited to see how that project works. So anyway, that's where the car sits now. That's where we're headed. Thanks for following along. Make sure you subscribe and follow along, and I'll just keep the videos coming the best that I can. Thanks for watching. Every day until... Which one do you like the best?
I like the white one the most.
The white
I
one?
like the yellow one. Actually, the red one.
They're all good, huh?
I like the red one and the yellow.
Alright. Okay, so the new fender, as we were getting it off of the parts car, was giving us a little trouble, and one of the bolts was frozen off. We had some issues there, so end of story. This line was not meeting up perfectly here for the little side skirt here. So what I just barely did was take the hammer here, gave it a little persuasion just right here on the inside sheet metal, and it looks like we're gonna get that to line up now how we need it to, so we can at least hold this on. Still kind of a gap here, and as you can see there's a gap in the door too, so I think the whole fender just needs to be aligned to come a little bit closer to the body. I was okay with a little bit of a gap in the beginning just because I didn't want the door to pinch and lose paint when I was just getting the paneling back on. So now it's time for just a little fine tuning. Okay, so to remove the fender badge here, there is some adhesive on the back side. You can take some fishing line and go through it. You can use some lighter fluid down in there. I just want to show you on the back side of the fender, since we have the lining off, you can see how this goes in and how easy it is really to take off if you just push it back out the other way. And so that might be worth it to take off the fender lining, and then you'll have your residue here like this that you'll need to eat away at. It is just a gluey sticky tape type thing, but that's how you can remove the emblem without really messing up the fender. Okay, so we're getting this gap closed up a lot tighter now, and there's still a little bit of wiggle room we'll have from it, and I'll show you what I did for that. Is the part that comes out on the body, and then you have the part that the fender has that sticks out. And the fender side was behind this, and I moved it to the other side just to kind of push the fender that way. And I'm also going to put the bolts in coming this way from the wheel, because it's a lot easier to take off the wheel lining and take these out than it is to open the door and try to put a wrench in there. So that should make adjusting it even easier as well. And there are plenty of weeds and debris up under here from the flood. Looking full-on tumbleweeds here. It would take some time to get all this out. Holy cow, this poor thing. Definitely went through that flood a bit, didn't it? Alright. Well, that gap is definitely much better than it was. So that gap tightened up quite a bit there. Quite happy with it now. Just takes a little fine tuning. These are just some of the weeds that were underneath the car after cleaning it up a little bit.